Alright, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to learn how to create the sequence you just saw in the beginning of this video. I have a separate video that's going to teach you the 3 methods of zoom-in transitions we're going to be using to create this sort of zoom-in sequence you just saw. So here I have a bunch of selects taken. These are from my shoot for Tao Chicago, and just for a disclaimer, some of these are already sort of reversed. I've kind of gone through and put them in the order I think at least I'm going to want to have them in, and then of course they're all in the proper speeds for the frame rates that I shot. So if it was 120 frames per second, it is now a 20% clip. 24 FPS clips are in normal speed, etc., etc. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and put a marker here, M for marker in Final Cut. And we'll make that one on the base hit there. So you notice this is the base hit, not this. Kick drum hit, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to add some keyframes. Zoom this clip in. So we'll take our Twitch transition number 12. These are from Ryan Nangle, and I'll link those in the description. The video showing you the methods of the transitions will also be linked in the description, of course. Go ahead and stabilize this one, see what it does. And let's go ahead and add our keyframe, post-production zoom in, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll also add rotation just to match that last clip. And if you do this, you have to be careful that you don't rotate it too much, because now you can see there are black bars up here. So to fix that, you saw I just scaled it more. Okay. Can we make this any smoother? So for this one, let's use one of our speed ramp zoom in. So since this clip is already zooming in, if I speed up the end of it, it will, super speed ramp into the next one. You'll see what I mean. So it'll go like super quick. Okay. I almost like, maybe I'll make the next trend, the next cut here. Yeah, I think I'll do that. See what happens if we stabilize this one. Pretty weird and wobbly. I like that a little better. That's good. All right, cool. So since we've ended on a speed ramp here, speed ramp into this one. And sometimes you have to drag it out. This is at least in Final Cut. You have to drag it out just to get those gray bars. These gray bars are deciding how quickly or slowly your timing is transitioning, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to do another speed ramp here into the next clip. This clip's a bit wobbly. Once again, let's go for some warp stabilizer. And I'm feeling one of these, I think, here. Yeah, you can make it even a little longer. And then it's going to have to re-stabilize these clips. Let's see if that completely screws it up or not. Looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to take some of this red, green, blue out of this. Okay, so this, I'm actually going to speed ramp to the point where she is going to lift the lid off of this thing. And I want that to happen on that beat. Right about there. So let's find where the lid is off to my liking, like right there. Shift B in Final Cut to create a speed ramp. So I actually want to create a speed ramp first on this beat, and then have her lift it quickly, and then the lift stops there and it goes back to slow motion. So we made a speed ramp there, and then another one here. Exactly. See that? It's just what I was thinking. And then how about on this hit, it goes to the next clip. And I know this is a zoom in sequence, so let's add our zoom in, since this clip is not zooming in, and this speed ramping did not necessarily add to the zoom sequence. This just made a little effect on her opening the lid like that. And it's a bit wobbly since that was a handheld shot. Once again, we will warp stabilize. Excellent. Let's reverse this. Bring it over. So we'll let let's see, actually I want this, because I want this to be nicely in focus right when it cuts. And then pretty quickly, I'm going to just make it speed away even faster. And then we'll mess with our gray bars just a little bit. Maybe not so fast. Since this was a handheld shot, if you speed things up a lot, you're going to notice the shakes. Stabilization. So you'll notice this stabilization sort of zoomed it in a lot. Let's try a different one. Great. Very smooth. So we've speed ramped it forward, we'll go ahead and do the same with this. We'll go to the end, Shift B, create another speed ramp. And let's drag this out just so we can mess with our gray bar here. You want it to come eventually to the point where it is in the proper frame rate, and at this point where the gray bar is there, it's somewhat not in the proper frame rate, if that makes sense. So since this clip's not zooming in, and if we speed ramp it anymore, it's also not going to be zooming in anymore. The only option we have if we want to continue the zoom in sequence would be to use another one of our transitions. I'm going to stick to the Twitch transition for sake of this tutorial. Just because it's the simplest one and it's also one of my favorites. So let's do this. I don't want it to be a speed ramp. I'm just going to have multiple probe shots in a row. Here's our next probe shot we're going to use just to keep our zoom ins going. Let's reverse this. And we'll cut off the beginning. This way we can make it so it, it starts and goes immediately into the zoom. We'll go over here. Alright, let's go ahead and move into our sushis. And if you remember these from the last video, we're just going to simply keyframe each one of these in, so you are zooming into each subject in each shot. And then once again, if you remember from the last video, we're going to go ahead and transition these shots into here, this shot into this one. Using our trusty Twitch zoom in number 12. Okay, so here's the thing. I want a transition to go from this clip to this one, but I also want this transition to be here. So I either have to choose to have that transition here or here, right? Well, not really. You can actually have both if you want. So let's start by putting it in the first spot that I want it, right here. So now all we'll do is we'll extend this clip out. Let's just give it a bunch of space. And I have another separate video on this. It's called transition stacking, or at least I've called it transition stacking in Final Cut. And all you're going to do is compound clip these. And since we have a lot more length of this bottom clip to use, now we can just drag this in. And you can go ahead and put another transition there, and it'll work just fine. And this creates this kind of sequence morphing in effect. All right, so I want to actually do this one more time. And same process, we'll just extend this out. Then compound clip all of these. Well, let's actually extend it out more. Compound clip all of these. You can do this as many times as you want. Sometimes that'll happen. You just put this into this little thing here. It makes this, I'm not really sure why. Final touches we're going to add are a few random overlays throughout this just to tie it all together. We're also going to lower the opacity at the beginning here and then bring it up all the way to 100, about there. Give it a nice fade on. I'm also going to add a color grade as well as a couple of other just random effects that I have in here that I know would make this edit look a little bit cleaner. Other than that, that is all for this video. If you guys have found value in this video and made it this far, please consider subscribing to my channel. Leave a like for the algorithm regardless, and drop a comment below of what other editing tutorials you would like to see, whether that's for Final Cut Pro or for other editing softwares. Final Cut's pretty much all I use, but I think a lot of this stuff can apply to other softwares. So yeah, that's all for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.